Welcome back to Funding Friday. I hope you've had a wonderful week, and I am joined this week by the lovely Sam Hunter, who is Partnerships and Events Manager at SEMLEP, which is the South East Midlands Local Enterprise Partnership, who's going to be talking to us today about a couple of grants that SEMLEP have got, specifically the Growth Curve and also a cheeky little agricultural grant that is almost finished. So Sam, thank you for agreeing to come on and speak to me today. How are you?
I'm good, thank you for having me.
My pleasure, an absolute pleasure. I know that SEMLEP do loads of business support in the South East Midlands area. Can you clarify for us, first of all, where are those locations? What geographic location is included?
Yeah, of course. So South East Midlands Local Enterprise Partnership, and we cover all the way down from Luton, so Luton, Dunstable, and I'll work my way up. So then Bedford, Milton Keynes, and then all the way up to Northamptonshire as well, sort of as far out as like Corby, Kettering, Corby way.
Amazing. And then across easterly, is it Milton Keynes, the edge?
Milton Keynes is the edge of our patch, yes, yeah.
Fantastic. And I know a lot of what you'll be talking about today is replicated in other areas through other growth hubs. So if this is not your area, don't tune out, listen in, find out what's available, but then also please do contact your local growth hub to find out what they are doing that is similar, the same, or how else you can access. So Sam, you're going to be talking to me today a little bit about the Growth Curve grant. I know that there are other ways in which you support, but tell us a little bit specifically about that.
So Growth Curve is our the flagship programme at the moment within the South East Midlands Growth Hub, and it's an ERDF funded project, so European funded project, is running for another 12 months or so. It began in 2019, and it has a focus on scale up businesses. So it's all about growing your business, and we work with 3 universities across the patch to deliver the programme. And those are Cranfield University, University of Bedfordshire, and University of Northamptonshire. So all the way across the patch, we're covered. The programme consists of some time with one of our high growth business advisors, where you get to do a deep dive into your business. You'll produce an action plan as a result of that, and that will help to determine which university is best to support you following that deep dive with our advisors. So the programme is a minimum of 12 hours of support. And as I say, a minimum because it's not 12 hours and then off you go. If you need some more support, some further follow-up, that's absolutely fine. And we can provide that for you, whether it's through us, whether it's through the universities, whatever it may be, we can carry on that support. So as I say, it's an initial deep dive into your business, looking at the challenges that you're facing, and how you may overcome them. And like I said earlier, that will then determine which university is most appropriate depending on the content that they deliver. So everything is based around scaling your business and growing your business. But we have some sort of specific topics that each of the universities will cover. For example, University of Northampton have quite a focus on leadership and digital marketing. So if sort of as a result of your deep dive with us, that sort of comes out as a bit of an action that you need to work on your marketing, or you've got some specific leadership challenges, then they would be the best university for you to then go on and do your next set of 9 hours of support universities deliver as part of this programme. So that then makes up your 12 hours. Bedford and Cranfield have a focus on sales and finance and operations. So again, if those are particular challenges, then we would determine which university is best for you. So it's really suited to the business and the challenges that each individual is facing, done on a case-by-case basis. There's no sort of, it's not automated in any way. We really do sort of do it, as I say, on a case-by-case basis, and for the business to get the most value out of the programme. So once you have done your 12 hours of support, maybe more, but once you've done your 12 hours support, you're then eligible to apply for the grant. And it's a 75% match. So we fund 25% and the business funds 75%. And there's no specific criteria just for the grant. There's specific criteria for the programme as a whole, and assuming you meet that criteria, which I will move on to in a second, you would then be able to apply for the grant funding at the end of your 12 hours of support as well.
Right.
So eligibility for the programme, we've actually just slightly tweaked the eligibility to widen it out a little bit to be able to access some more businesses in the area. So you need to have a minimum of 2 employees and a minimum turnover of 100k, so 100,000 turnover, and an aspiration to grow, which I think if you're a business owner or a senior decision maker in a business, we've all got that aspiration for growth and scaling up.
Brilliant. And there's no sector lockouts. This is sector agnostic, state agnostic. You don't have to have been trading for a certain amount of years.
No, I mean, we tend to find with the sort of 2 criteria, eligibility criteria, generally businesses would have been trading for a couple of years probably to have, you know, that 2 employees and 100k turnover, but there's no actual minimum number of years trading, no.
Brilliant. And in terms of the 25% match funding, is it as standard that you need to get approval? You need to submit that application and get it approved before you spend any of the money?
Yes, so we will work with you on putting your grant application together if you would like us to. Obviously, we've got the expertise in-house with the advisors, the business advisors, to put together a really solid grant application. They know exactly what the panel are looking for, and we have regular grant panel meetings with independent panelists there. They'll come together, review all the applications, and then an outcome will be provided.
Amazing. And I love the fact that it's coupled with some coaching as well along the way. What's the purpose of that, of doing the 12 hours before you apply for the budgets?
So I think really it's about not just accessing funding straight away, but really identifying where is best to use funding that we can provide. So like I say, the deep dive with our business advisors is a real opportunity for you to take time away from working in the business to work on the business, which I know a lot of business owners struggle to do, and totally understand it. We're so busy making sure the business runs day to day that often people don't get the time to really look at what could help them grow and scale up. And this program helps you to do just that. It takes you away from the business for at least 12 hours over a period of time. That's not 12 hours, over a week. We're not asking you to do that, because obviously we also appreciate your time is precious and not easy to come by. So the masterclasses are actually spread out over a course of a few weeks. Each of the universities do it slightly differently, but they deliver them in sort of 2 to 3 hour blocks. So you'll get sort of 3 to 4 sessions with the university, as I say, over like a month, 6 weeks time, to really give you the chance to embed what you're learning each week as well. So you can do a couple of hours, go away, perhaps put some of those things into action if they're quite simple strategies to put in place. And then it gives you time to work on things, come back, feedback to the group, feedback to your peers, which is another valuable part of the cohorts, I think. You're sort of in a group of anywhere between 8 and 12 other businesses. So 8 to 12 business owners, as you've said, across a variety of sectors. So you might have someone in the banking sector and another person in the cultural and creative sector, but actually you find quite a lot of the time the challenges faced are very similar, even though you're in 2 complete opposite ends of the business world. So it can really help, even just talking to your peers and the other people in the cohort. That's been some really great feedback that we've had about overcoming challenges, not just sort of sitting and, the lecturers' presentations and everything that they do is, of course, extremely valuable, but actually just being in a room with other business owners as well.
And sharing that kind of shared challenge, you mentioned digital marketing as one of the ways that somebody might want to deploy this grant funding. And we've recently spoken to a business who has used the growth curve to be able to look at their digital marketing. And I think one of the key points they raised was they went into it thinking, we need a new website. And so we're going to use this money for what we were going to be doing anyway. We're going to upgrade our website. We're going to use that match funding. It's a little bit of money back for something we were going to do anyway. And then they went on the programme and they realised that the website was not the problem. And actually, through talking to peers and talking to lecturers, they realized they needed a completely different digital strategy. And I think that really brought to life for me how the value of having that masterclass before you do the application.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting that sort of second eye over things to really clarify what it is that your business needs. And you could be right, you know, a new website could be exactly what you need. But like you say, sometimes it turns out that it's something a little bit different, and you know, you could have potentially wasted some grant funding on doing something that then doesn't actually provide you any more return than what you're already seeing. So yeah.
And you mentioned the panel process and the application. How difficult is the application form itself, and what support can you provide to help people who maybe are neurodiverse or get a form and just freeze and don't know what to do with it?
So we can spend as much time with you. So part of what the Growth Hub does, and you know, not just SEMLEP's Growth Hub, but growth hubs across the country, all of our support is fully funded. So like I say, you're not limited just to this 12 hours of support on the programme. More than that is absolutely fine, and the business doesn't pay a penny for that. So if it is a couple more hours of grant application support, that's absolutely more than welcome, and we can facilitate that. You would probably spend time with the advisor that you are seeing as part of the Growth Curve programme, because they obviously have the knowledge already of the business and the type of what you want to use the funding for, so they can really help you put that together. If you just want someone to cast an eye over it before you send it, that's also absolutely fine. So really any level of support in terms of writing the grant application we can provide. And now that we are back to doing some face-to-face work as well, that can always be done over a coffee.
Amazing. I know you guys are so supportive. I think often we hear business owners say, oh, you know, it's only certain types of businesses that get this funding, or I already knew I wasn't going to get it. And actually, in my experience, you guys need to get this money out the door. You know, you are targeted to spend it all, in earmarked. So actually, you really want to help people, and particularly people who've never had it before. Is that right?
Yes, 100%. You know, if we don't spend it, we don't get it to use anywhere else, or you know, it needs to be out the door. I think by next June for this programme is when that sort of all wraps up and comes to an end. But yeah, no, absolutely. Any support in terms of grant applications, we can help with that as well. So don't be put off by thinking that you've got a really long application form to get filled in. We can support you every step of the way.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you so much. I think, unless you've got anything else you want to add, that kind of covers off all of the information about Growth Curve for today. You did mention to me before we went live and recording that there is a cheeky little agricultural grant that's coming to an end that you've got a few extra spaces for.
Yeah, so we had, obviously during the pandemic, there was a lot of government funding around. And part of that government funding was the Additional Restrictions Grant, which shortly known as ARG, and that was provided out to local authority areas. So we work across 6 local authorities in the South East Midlands, and it's the Beds Borough, so Bedfordshire Borough businesses is the small pot that we've got available. So if your business was affected by COVID, we do have a small pot of money still available for that. So do come and speak to us, and we can have a look at whether you maybe eligible to apply for that.
I may have led people down the wrong path there. I thought it was an agri. It's an ag grant, an
ARG, yeah.
ARG. So
ARG.
Can you give us some examples of, without naming names, people who have successfully been given this money, so that people can kind of see in their mind, oh, actually, that could be me?
Yeah, so it's for really, so as I say, businesses that were affected by COVID. So that's, having to lose staff, potentially having to close business altogether during the pandemic, issues with supply chain, which is obviously still ongoing now, and we can help. It's £1,000 per business is what's available. So it's not gonna sort of change the world, but every little helps. And as I say, yeah, if you've had to lose staff, if you've had to potentially bring in more staff to cope with demand as well, that's sort of another edge of the sword.
What about complete closure for industries that completely closed down during COVID and therefore lost income? Are they eligible?
Yes, they would be.
Okay, yeah. Brilliant. But within a Bucks borough, so they need to have beds.
Beds borough, yes. Bedfordshire borough is where we've got that little pot left. But just come and pop us an inquiry or give us a ring, because we can just have a chat with you and make sure. Obviously, there's umpteen different ways businesses can be affected or could have been affected by the pandemic. So it's probably easier just for us to have a quick conversation with you, and we can go from there. And as I say, there's so much other support that we can offer. So if it did turn out that you perhaps couldn't have that grant, we would definitely try and look to see what other ways we may be able to support you or signpost you to any of our other lovely partners that may be able to help.
That's brilliant. And I think one of the things you mentioned earlier that I was going to come back to was once they're on your radar, once these businesses have connected with you and maybe they've spent that time with your business advisors, I would imagine that the next time a grant is released, because they're coming out all the time and loads of different criteria, you've got someone then in your camp, so to speak, who's going to be able to say, actually, I know who we could give this to, reach out to the conversation.
Absolutely. We've got a lot of, obviously through our CRM system, we can see all the businesses that we've interacted with since day dot, more or less. And I would also really recommend, if you sign up to our Growth Hub newsletter, that will obviously always have the most up-to-date funding opportunities on it as well. So that's sort of the first place that you will hear about it. There's a lot of programs coming to an end at the moment, so hopefully over the next few months we might see some new programs coming out.
Nice, yeah, certainly an unprecedented lending landscape or funding landscape approaching. And if somebody has historically had money from SEMLEP pot and they're maybe a little bit embarrassed about coming back to see if they're eligible for more, what would be your advice to those businesses?
Absolutely don't feel like you can't come back and see us. We would love to hear from you. As you said earlier, we can't wait to get the money out the door and help with businesses. So
it's a lively household you've got there today.
Oh.
Amazing. Sam, I think unless you've got anything else that you want to cover off, we have gone through eligibility criteria, geographic location sensitivity, help that you can provide. I guess unless you've got any final words of wisdom, I would ask, where would you like people to go? What action should they take?
So that would be, my sort of final comments would just be, if you've got any questions, if you're not sure, you might be eligible, might not be, just come and ask. If you head to our website, the Growth Hub website, SEMLEP Growth Hub website, there's a form on there, an inquiry form. Our telephone number is also there. So give us a ring or pop us an inquiry. No question is a stupid question whatsoever. So if you've got any questions at all, we're more than happy to cover that off. Or if you just want to find out a little bit more about either of the programs that I've discussed or any other support that we can offer, as I say, everything we do is fully funded, so you've got nothing to lose.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you. Perfect summary. Sam, thank you so much for your support, as always. And please do come back the next time you've got a grant so that we can share it with our Funding Friday audience. But thank you and have a wonderful rest of the week.
Take care.